Savor host Will Smith speaks with clinical herbalist Willow Holloway of Elder Apothecary in Ashland about herbs and teas that could help boost immunity. Please note this isn't medical advice or a substitute for medical treatment if you're ill.
Hey, this is Will Smith. This is Savor. We're a part of the Jefferson Public Radio Jefferson Exchange. I have a great guest today, Willow Holloway. She's a clinical herbalist and owner of the Elder Apothecary in Ashland. Good morning.
Good morning.
I was thinking about the show the past week. I've had several friends come down with our friend COVID once again. And
I see.
it is fall and kids are going back to school and we're spending more time indoors. And so I thought it might be a fun little subject to talk about herbal additives for your diet to increase your immunity. What sorts of things would you recommend for people at this time of the year?
I would say if you're just starting to feel like you're coming under, you're feeling fatigued, and you're feeling a little pale, that the best things are going to be really things that you can find in your kitchen. They're called stimulant diaphoretics. They're perfect for when you don't yet have a fever. They're called. Some of them are ginger, thyme, oregano, garlic, onions. And one that people can usually find right outside their door, it's usually in most people's gardens, is yarrow. Yarrow is another great tea that you can have in
And that
those
would
moments.
be the flowers or the leaves?
The flowers.
The flowers, all right. Very interesting. I love this using those things that aren't, particularly exotic. And we're so out of that way of thinking. Something that I love about your shop, because it's almost a reminder of the things that are close to us that we can actually help us and our families stay healthy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in most cultures, herbalism is hiding in the kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. So great. So for the next sort of phase, when you are definitely sick, what might you recommend for that situation?
When you are struggling with a fever, you're in bed already, your temperature is rising, I would say reach for relaxant diaphoretics. And those are going to be things that can be really gentle. I would say if you can get away with using the gentlest herb possible, that's the most holistic way to go. So those are herbs like peppermint, catnip even, spearmint, elderflower, which, elderberries are getting ripe right now, but the elderflower you can use at that moment, and even lemon balm.
And for someone that really hasn't tried these things before, is there a procedure that you want to use in growing these things and drying these things? Should they be used fresh or? You
can definitely use them fresh, and you can use them dried. If you grow them in your garden, I would say, dry them outside, but in the shade.
Okay.
So that they retain their potency.
Okay.
And then, at this stage, when you're running a fever and you're wanting to make yourself something to help, these are best in a hot tea.
Okay. And that first group too, you're actually making a tea with the garlic and the.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Ginger in particular, there's something about it where it prevents viral replication in the air passages.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so when I'm just starting to get sick and, feeling kind of run down, but I don't have a fever yet, so I will, grate some fresh ginger, or if I have some dried ginger, and I'll make a tea and I'll just sip that all day.
All right. That's a great idea. In my experience, I had an assistant once that whenever, as a freelancer, you don't often get to call in sick. So I've worked quite often when I'm not feeling so well. And she used to make a tea with crushed garlic, crushed ginger, jalapeno, and boy. And I would keep that on my side table. And that's a really yummy thing to drink all day as well.
Yes, yum.
Sort
I know.
Brightens you up. And sort of you do feel cleaner.
Yes.
Which is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and some people cringe at using garlic as medicine, but you can also make a fermented garlic honey, and that appeals to more people.
Can you use that black garlic?
You can.
Yeah,
Mhm,
I bet that would be delicious. That's such an interesting flavor.
It is.
We just
yeah.
had Ben Jacobson on of Jacobson Salt. He makes black garlic salt,
Wow.
which has got to be great. I haven't tasted it.
Yum.
But it sounds good to me. And then getting people to come see your shop. You do have refreshments available.
Yes, we do. Yeah, we have teas of all kinds. Actually, a lot of folks have been coming in for the lung lover as smoke season just ended, or just kind of has tapered off.
Sure.
And now we're into sixth season. Lung lover has been the most popular tea.
And what's in that?
There's mullein in that. There's marshmallow roots. So both of those are going to be incredibly soothing to the air passageways. There's also ginger in there. There's thyme. There's also elecampane, which is a beautiful lung herb for restoring lung function.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's really delicious. And folks swear by it. They come in and they say, give me another cup of that. I feel so much better.
So, have you had anybody with asthma that is enjoying that tea? I'm curious to know if it has that effect of sort of opening things.
Yeah. I haven't had anyone in particular with asthma come in and tell me about using that and benefiting from it.
Sure.
But I can see that it wouldn't be surprising to me if they did.
Right. We'll talk a little bit more about some of these kitchen herbs and what we can do with them, because I think it's a great usage, also a great way of going through them.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people, buy a jar of something and then leave it there.
Yeah.
For 2 years or 3 years.
Yeah. You can buy a jar of something and then put it in another jar with some other things and then still leave it there.
I love that.
And then when you remember it, it's medicine.
Right.
So one of these ways is making an oxymel, which is just apple cider vinegar and honey together with herbs. So you can make a garlic, yarrow, ginger oxymel, leave it on your counter for some weeks, and then when you remember it, you're like, oh, it's medicine. You strain it. And that's an amazing thing to put into a hot cup of water.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, an amazing apple cider vinegar, honey, medicinal thing for you to drink.
Very sweet. I love that. Just to remind everybody, this is Savor on the Jefferson Public Radio. My name is Will Smith, and our guest today is Willow Holloway, an herbalist and owner of Elder Apothecary right downtown Ashland on the plaza. I'm still a huge fan of the shop, and what exciting things do you have going on down there right now?
Well, we have a number of folks coming through to launch their book tours, which is exciting. The folks at Cedar Bloom who put on the women's gathering there, they have a book launch going their book is called When Women Gather. Their book launch is happening tomorrow evening.
Super.
And then Joy with Diggin' Livin' and the Bees.
She's coming into the co-op in a few weeks to do a little demo.
Yeah, she's doing her book launch sometime in October. I forget exactly which day.
Yeah.
And then another exciting thing is that we're getting an espresso machine in.
Yay.
So we'll be
competition
dabbling into coffee culture.
That's great. Mm-hmm. What kind of things would there be herbs that you would add to coffees ever?
Yes. So I actually like to add tinctures to my coffees, but you can definitely put, some like powdered medicinal mushrooms in there.
Sounds good for the brain.
Oh, yeah. Not just for the brain, but one herb that you can put in there to build immunity when you're not yet sick yet, but you just want to build your immunity for the season is reishi.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, reishi powdered medicinal mushroom. Put that in your warm coffee every day. You're building your immunity that way.
Very nice. Well, I think it's such an important thing to do, especially the things that you can do before getting sick.
Exactly.
So, and I do. remind everybody that stress is a killer, and you want to try alleviate stress. Try and sleep. Sleep is a wonderful medicine to keep us well and strong.
Yeah, naps.
Yes, and that's my favorite. And we were just having a conversation about the beauty of a siesta and how we're missing out on that.
Yes. Yeah.
That after lunch, a couple hours horizontal, it's not a bad thing.
No, that sounds great.
In addition to the teas that you serve and or can make at home, speaking about tinctures, are there any tinctures you might recommend for immunity during this kind of crossover season?
Yeah, I mean, any of the herbs that I mentioned for, when you're just starting to get sick or when you want to, break a fever, they all can come in tincture form.
Okay. All right.
So whether you're going to find that at the co-op or at the apothecary, they're going to be there right on the shelves for you. Like lemon balm, definitely is one of those that you can put a squeeze of that into a hot cup of water.
And do you feel there's a difference between making a tea with a dried herb versus adding a tincture into a beverage? Is there one that's better than another, more potent than another?
I would say that if it's respiratory herbs that you really want to coat the airways, coat your throat while it's going down, that's best in a tea.
Okay.
Other things that you can get away with putting the tincture in a tiny bit of water and just shooting it.
Okay.
But yeah, generally, herbalists say that if it's going to be for the respiratory system or the digestive system, that it's best to get those herbs in tea form.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Anything that we didn't cover on your list there?
I mean, there's some things that we didn't cover, that not specifically herbal, but other things that you can do to, not exactly boost your immunity, but take care of your body so that your immune system is responding well. Not just the stress, but you can, and getting sleep, but you can make sure to sweat. You can make sure to sweat, every other day, whether that's like in a bath or in the sauna or, getting to a point in your exercise where you're breaking a little bit of a sweat. The act of sweating vents the body a little bit. And it's when our body is kind of getting bogged down with, like toxins or other things like that it can get sick.
Sure, that makes sense.
Yeah.
If somebody's really interested in and they need a little walkthrough on what the apothecary offers that service of really kind of counsel. If somebody has a question.
Yeah. We do little mini wellness checks, not checks, but wellness consultations at the counter.
Yeah, that's great.
For run-of-the-mill stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're going to open up a free clinic day. I don't know if it's going to be every month or every week, but I'm getting all my herbalist friends together to chat beginning of October to build more community herbalism at the apothecary.
That's so great.
Yeah.
I do find that people are super, super interested and they're looking for help. And I love how the shop is sort of oriented and it's very welcoming. If you have a question, you get your questions answered. And I think it's as opposed to going down Western medicine route, it's great to have these options because they're all around you.
Yeah, they're all within reach, for sure.
Yeah, and I love that idea of growing those certain things that you could actually use throughout the year to keep you and your family healthy.
Yeah, yes.
So great. Well, thank you, Willow Holloway. This has been Savor on Jefferson Public Radio. My name's Will Smith. A reminder to eat well and drink some tea.
Yeah, take good care, folks.
Thank you for joining us. You've been listening to Savor on Jefferson Public Radio. You can find this conversation and more at jeffexchange.org or anywhere that you download your podcasts.